Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to Mellow Movie Reviews, where me and Katie, I'm Bri, by the way. My mom says that we need to introduce ourselves.
Oh, your mom watches our podcast.
She listened to all of our episodes.
Dell! Shout out to Dell.
I was like, which one did you listen to? She said all of them. I was sewing.
Oh my god, Shaylee was listening to our Thor one today. Like
Oh,
literally
I
10
love
minutes ago,
that.
she was like texting me about it.
Oh, I love that.
Well, among our friends and family, we are very popular.
I love it though. That's so fun.
We've had positive feedback from everyone who's listened to it though. And
That's
again,
cool.
only friends and family. But if you are not a friend or family and feel positive, leave us some feedback. We would be truly thrilled.
Do you want me to start with my movie news,
Yeah, I
or do
can't even
you want to
remember what
do?
my movie news is. You go. I'll think of it eventually.
Okay, so I was on Reddit like any normal
Of
person
course. Of course.
who's a Virgo would do, and there was a post that was titled Cats has ended its domestic run after 8 weeks with a total of $27.2 million.
That doesn't
This,
sound like a lot.
no, this is not a lot. So, in comparison, Birds of Prey came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's made $64 million domestically.
How many weeks ago it came
So,
out?
sorry,
How many weeks ago it came out?
Birds of Prey,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And it made it basically more than twice the amount of money. Damn.
Yes, and Cats was running for 8 weeks.
Did you see that people were like salty after Rebel Wilson and what's his face went on the Oscars and like made that joke about cats where they like came out dressed as cats?
No, I did not see that.
They were like, it's not the fault of the SFX department, which to be fair, it probably wasn't. Like, I heard they rushed the movie to the theaters, so like, I'm sure a lot of the stuff they wanted to do as artists was not done the way they wanted it to do, but also it just looked horrifying.
The thing is, I don't understand why they would rush it. Like, why not wait for next year?
No, I know.
I
It's
think
not
they,
like there's a huge demand for a Cats musical movie.
I think they just wanted it for Oscar season, but they could have done it next Oscar
This
season.
is true. This is true. I hope
So
any future anthropomorphic musicals take that into account.
just plan them ahead. Katie, we were in a musical together in high
I was
school.
in multiple musicals in high school.
But we were together in one, and it was the best time.
It was the best time because, like, that huge group of us I think it was all of us were in there.
I miss being part of a musical. Like, I loved being stressed out about like musical. I was like, the musicals today. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Another piece of movie news I found from slashfilm.com. I also want to give out to Slash Filmcast. They're my favorite movie podcast. I was really depressed after I graduated college, and I listened to them to kind of escape, and they made me realize that I loved like talking about movies and analyzing movies, and yeah. So that's my thing. That's my story. That's not the news though.
Okay.
So on slashfilm.com, there's an article titled Jurassic World 3 will
Nope.
be like Avengers Endgame, according to Chris Pratt. And this is an article by Hoai Tran Bui.
I hate my life.
Sorry?
I hate my life.
Why?
This sounds so. Okay, go.
Okay, so Jurassic Park 3. Oh, Jurassic World 3. Sorry. Will star Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, and characters from the original Jurassic Park, like Laura Dern and Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum.
Is it Goldblum or Goldblum?
I think it's Bloom. I just
I
say Bloom.
genuinely don't know. Well, Jeff, we know you're listening, so give us a call.
So the article states that, so yesterday Chris Pratt was on the Ellen show,
Okay.
and he said, this is, I got it from the article. He said, I'm not allowed to say anything. It's got everybody. It's got pretty much everybody in it. Maybe I just blew it, but I don't care. All the cast from the original Jurassic Park is coming back. It's going to feel very much like how Endgame brought everything together for Marvel.
Oh, okay. That's a clickbaity title. So they're comparing it to Endgame in that everyone is going to be in it. That could be fun or that could be a disaster. And like, I actually just rewatched the first Jurassic World recently and I had a good time. It was a fun movie. But then I was like, I could watch the second one, but I literally just have no desire because the first time watching it was so bad.
So the second one, the newest one that has come out with
Yeah.
Chris Pratt, that took place in a mansion for some
Yeah,
reason.
yup. Anyway, we're not roasting that movie.
The end of that movie ended with, okay, a little girl presses the button and all the dinosaurs escape.
Oh my god, because she's a clone, right? I totally forgot about that.
It ends with like a lion and a dinosaur like roaring together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of cool in that way.
Yeah, I think that's like a fun concept.
So I'm really curious how they're going to spin it though.
It's again, they're reaching honestly, I think the second Jurassic Park movie was a stretch, but then they made 4 more. They're all fun, even if a lot of them are bad. I feel like they weren't 100% certain if they were going to get another movie. They were like pretty sure, but they weren't 100% certain. So they like left it where they were like, we've got a world to explore, but also like it could be done if they didn't get another one.
Yeah. So this movie is set to come out on June 11th, 2021. I'm probably going to go because I love monsters. So yeah. Are we ready to talk paranormal activity?
Yeah, I gotta let my cat in now, or else he's gonna scratch on the door the whole time.
Amazing.
Oh, 1 second.
Katie, for the past 3 podcasts, your cat has been like trying to get on the mic. So this week, Katie and I watched Paranormal Activity. Katie, do you have any history with this franchise?
Okay, I actually have a really fun history with this franchise. When I went to college for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in upstate New York for Halloween, I think it was right before Paranormal Activity 3 came out or right after it came out
Okay.
because we went into this one girl's dorm room. We did a lot of drinking and then we watched all 3 Paranormal Activities back to back. Also because they were all super. Oh, I should also mention I don't enjoy horror movies usually. Like they're fun, but I don't enjoy being scared, and blood isn't really a fun thing for me. But yeah, so they all loved it. So they had like the lights out, like the door was shut. They were like, even they put a blanket down so like the light coming in from the hall couldn't get in through the crack under the door. It was satanic.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I watched this movie the first time. When I watched it 2 days ago, I watched it in bed with the lights on, like a normal person. What is your history with this movie?
I am in love with this franchise. I don't know. I stumbled upon it like in my teen years, and then I watched the second one, and I remember, so the third movie came out when there was that huge snowstorm in Mass and we lost power. Do you remember that? It was in October, and because the leaves were still on the trees, the snow combined with like the leaves like weighed down the branches, and
This
we were
is
just
the
out of
most
chapter.
New England conversation about the time of year. We knew it was October because the leaves were changing, and then the combination of the snow and the leaves. It's all true.
Yeah, so basically, I was at boarding school at the time, and all the power was out. And I called my mom, and I was like, "Mom, can my friends who are from like North Carolina like come over to our house because like everyone's advising them to go home, us to go home." And they're like, sorry, Bri, we don't have anything. You have to find one of your friends." So then,
What?
I'm not joking. They were like, "Bri, we're so sorry. Like, can you go with one of your friends?" Because it was that bad. They were like, "Bri, we don't have It was bad. So I went to Rhode Island, and I
Definitely
made my
need
two friends at the
to.
time watch the first two Paranormal Activity movies. And then we went to see the third Paranormal Activity movie in the theaters. And there was one point where I was so scared, I kicked the seat in front of me. No one was in the chair though, but I broke the hinges. And yeah, it was like yeah, that's my whole story. But I love this franchise. I've seen So right now there are 6 Paranormal Activity movies out. So the last Paranormal Activity movie that came out was called Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension, and I have not seen that. But out of all of them, I think the third is my favorite, but watching all 3 of them together is so much fun.
I read the Wikipedia pages for all the rest of the movies because I could watch the next two probably, but I don't think I could do it by myself again.
Yeah. It's more fun to watch them with friends, though.
Yeah, that's the thing is because I felt myself wishing that I had someone to talk to the entire time. I just wanted to complain about Mika and make fun of his name the entire time, and sitting there and talking to my TV about it was not the same as like you and me on a couch making fun of him.
Hmm. This Paranormal Activity came out in 2007. It was directed and written by Oren Peli. It stars Katie Featherston as
Yeah, that was
Katie
really weird.
and Mika Sloat as Mika.
I can't believe his actual name is
I
Mika.
know. I was like silently giggling when you were like,
I don't know if you can like do this. Oh, we probably need like copyright licensing. This would be a great time to like in post put in like a Mika song so we can make
"Oh,
that joke.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh." So the budget for this movie was $15,000.
Thousand?
Yes.
What did they spend it on? That one camera?
Well, that's kind of cheap if you're thinking about like sending the movie out to places and making copies of the movie, and then you have to pay the sound boom guys and the whatever.
But they don't have to pay the sound boom guys because they weren't boomed.
I think it probably went for promotion, like
I bet you all the money went to that camera, renting that house and furnishing it, or like renting the furniture for that. Or you
well,
know what? That's probably just like a buddy's house. That could be just their house.
that was the director's house.
So they didn't even have to pay for it. So the camera, that's where the money went.
And I also think
And
they did a really good job advertising this movie.
I don't recall because I was 14 years old.
I just remember everyone like talking about it. People like they had the previews of the movie wasn't really about the movie. It was like the audience reactions.
Oh, you know what? I do remember that.
Yeah, and I think that was a really smart marketing move.
You know, I feel like that's so standard now. Like we see that all the time when a movie's supposed to be really, really scary, but I feel like that wasn't such a thing back then.
But I don't know. I think that this movie was marketed well because it made domestically $107,918,810.
So more than Cats.
Yes. This movie made over 100 million domestically, and the budget was only 15,000. So literally they made bank. So Katie, I think the
Mm-hmm.
best way to kind of review this movie, I wrote down like every moment, like all the nights. And I
Okay.
think it'd be fun to like go through the nights.
I'm into it. Let's do it.
But did you like this movie?
So I find myself very conflicted
Mm-hmm.
because it is at the same time the exact kind of horror film that I love and that I hate, but I love it for all the reasons that I hate it. Like, I love that we never see the bad guy. I love how stressed out I am the whole time and how it's not like a bloody affair. But I liked it. And I know there's like a story
Mm-hmm.
going. Also, I thought there was the baby was in this one. I didn't realize it was in the second one. The entire time I was like, where's this fucking baby? Yeah, I would watch the other two. Like, I would watch more of them.
I think what I really, so I love this movie so much. It's near and dear to my heart. I just like found footage films. The subtlety of like all the scares were done so perfect. Like what you said, like it's not a bloody mess. It's just, I don't know. I like that just two normal people. I love that the cast is small. I love that it's a very intimate film and you can feel the tension building throughout.
The strengths is that this movie does a good job of taking something very intimate and turning it into something that feels very claustrophobic.
Mm.
Because, like, at the beginning, it's just them and they're in a house and it's like very chill and you're like, oh great, there's not that much to keep track of. But like by the end you're like, oh my god, we need to leave. There is so much going on here. It's too much in this space.
First, we see Katie arriving in her car, and it's a really. I was so jealous of that house. Were you?
Yeah.
But what I like liked about this first scene is that the paranormal activity has already been happening, and that's why Mika bought the camera. I like that it wasn't just, oh, we're so happy, and then something happens one night. Like she tells us it's been happening for years, which I think is pretty fresh in terms of horror movies. There's usually like demon possession happens to a person and they're like the person is experiencing demon possession for the first time, but like we see in the first scene that she's been dealing with this throughout her life.
And I feel like that makes sense for it being a found footage film because you're not going to go out and buy a camera and then like leave it around the house and film a bunch of stuff and then all of a sudden things start getting spooky. Like it makes sense that things have been getting weird and like you're getting a camera to see if you can figure out what's going on.
So I thought the
Um,
motive was valid, and yeah.
it's a really simple story and it's a really bare bones cast and set. And I think that giving it too much exposition could have ruined the simplicity of the movie.
I agree. I have a note that says Mika plays the guitar annoyingly. Night one, before Katie goes to sleep, she whispers, "It's looking at me." And then the Thor thumps. The floor thumps. That's what the exposition said. And then, not the exposition.
I was going to say, that's what my subtitles said, but I definitely didn't hear that.
Yeah, the subtitle says that.
Like, every time something happened, like, right before something spooky was about to happen, it would be, like, low humming, and it would be silent. And then, like, get dragged out of the bed.
I kind of liked being, like, pre-warned by the subtitles.
That helped with this, like, me not being freaked out, but also every single second I was certain there was going to be a jump scare. And there really weren't that many,
No.
if any.
So the next morning, Katie comes downstairs and she's like, "Mika, did you put my keys in the middle of the floor?" And he's like, ooh, this is evidence that evil forces beyond the grave moved your keys. Which is exactly what happened, so it's kind of funny.
He's just such a dick.
He's so annoying. But I kind of like that line, though, because he's making fun of it, but it's true. Like, something evil just plopped her keys in the middle of the floor.
I think, like, I didn't find him annoying until it got to the point in the movie where, like, it was very clear that stuff was going on, and he, like, still refused to take it seriously.
Yeah, he's like that the whole time.
Like, I was kind of okay with him making fun of it initially, because it's like, hey, he's the everyman. We're supposed to be skeptic. But then as soon as things were, like, legitimately happening and he was still being a dick about it, I was like, all right, sir.
So then, Catie is really excited because the psychic is coming. Mika is like not, and he acts like a tool the whole time. And there's like interesting exposition, but it was done in a way that wasn't like beating our head over with the bush. Like, it was a psychic, and it was cool that we were seeing her tell her story to him. And she says when she was younger, she'd see like a figure always over her bed, and then there was a fire. They lost everything, and they like couldn't find what caused the fire. It was probably the demon. She tells the psychic it's been happening like since when she was 8, 13, and then periodically. And explains like we hear scratching around the house and whispering. Yeah, I really like the scene when the psychic came in, and then he tells her like, this sounds more like a demon than a ghost.
Can you believe?
I was like, oh god, that's so scary. I would be so scared.
You and me just sitting there with like water pistols full of holy water.
And then Mika's dumbass is like, I want to get a Ouija board.
Literally.
I want a Ouija board. And the psychic's like, no, it will just make it angry. I have one downstairs, but I'm not like Mika, so. So it's night 3. So again, low humming noise, creaking door.
Is this the one where the door slams?
No. Like the door moves an inch in and then an inch backwards. And Mika wakes up at 6:14 a.m. I was like, why do you have your alarm set to 6:14? And then Mika's playing the guitar again, being annoying. And Catie is screaming, and you're thinking something scary is happening, but it's just a spider. But that spider looked really like, it looked creepy.
It was an aggressive spider.
It wasn't a small aggressive.
It was like thick.
Yeah.
Like one of those like gross little thick hairy ones. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a nice little like, hey, this movie's not going to be scary immediately before it starts to get scary.
Yeah, it's like, gotcha.
Like I felt like every time they raised the bar, like each night, it like made sense. Like we didn't escalate from like the door just kind of opening and then closing to there being demon footprints. Like it was a logical growth of a haunting.
So then Mika tries to communicate with the demon, but he's not being very friendly. And then we have Mika research hour, and he tells Catie that demons exist to cause pain and commit evil for their own amusement. They stalk you for years and are smart. And then Katie's like, great, can we not make it mad? I don't know. He just like doesn't listen to Catie. She's like, don't make it mad. And he's like, what you doing, man? Like, want to make something happen? It's ridiculous. Okay, so night 5. There's humming.
Low humming?
Just humming.
Damn.
Catie, like, wakes up with a nightmare, and then the door slams. And then Mika goes, is that all you got?
Here, I have a question for you. Have you ever watched BuzzFeed Unsolved?
Yes, you showed that to me.
Okay, I was pretty sure I did. So you know how there's that one guy who, like, doesn't believe in ghosts? So, like, everywhere they go, he's like, demons, come at me.
He's cute as hell. They're both cute.
Anyway, I feel like I heard several times he said stuff, and I was like, I'm pretty sure Shane from BuzzFeed has definitely said this in an episode, and that was definitely one of those times.
Mm-hmm. I love that show. They should come on here. We could do a Lizzie Borden movie marathon. So then night 13 happens. There's a thumping. Catie wakes up and then hears a ah. So maybe it's like downstairs drinking a Sprite. And then the chandelier, they see that the chandelier is moving. And Mika, I think, literally says, this is really good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, fuck you, dude. And like Katie's like, the camera's making things worse. And then Mika does stupid shit. No, Mika's like, hey, do you want to play with a Ouija board? And then like it cuts to night 15. Yeah, this movie should have been called Cut It Out, Mika.
Yeah, this movie should have been called Mika, Stop.
Okay, so then night 15 is when it starts to get like kind of weird. So Katie gets out of bed and stares at Mika for 3 hours.
Nice, as one does.
I imagine her being like, you freaking asshole, I freaking hate, just like, what's obviously a demon possessing her. And then she walks out of the room, and then Mika finds Katie outside, and she's like very sedative and refuses to come in. Do you think like the demon was talking for her at that point, or do you think she was just like in a weird daze?
I don't know. I would have to watch it again with the when did Katie get possessed lens. I was just trying to survive to the end this time I watched it.
That makes sense. So then after like Mika's like, I'll get you some blankets. And then here's a bang and the TV turns on upstairs. And then Katie comes upstairs again. She's like, what are you doing? Let's go to sleep. And he's like, what? You're crazy. So Katie watches the footage the next morning of her like staring at Mika for 3 hours. And then she just said that she just had really gruesome nightmares. So then Mika does this stupid ass thing and he gets a Ouija board. And then Katie gets really pissed off because he obviously doesn't take her being scared seriously. And it's kind of like the first time we see her like actually get pissed. And I think kind of like the demon, she might have, it's two things. Like she might have just been pissed, but like sometimes I feel like the demon was like in her feeding her anger and stuff. And like that, the first time she gets angry like that, the freaking Ouija board goes freaking crazy and like burns on fire, you know? Like, did she provoke that happening because of her anger? I don't know.
I feel like that was just the demon being like, finally, I can communicate.
So then Mika does a Ouija board investigation, doesn't come up with anything. And then night 17, I think this is one of the creepiest scenes in the movie, is when they Mika puts down powder and then...
Yeah, I really enjoyed this scene. Scared the shit out of me, but I really enjoyed it.
The footsteps like looked like webbed feet in a way.
I thought they were supposed to be like hooves.
Ooh, like, see, that's scary. Like, everything is so scary. Like, what kind of creature has those footprints? And it made me like visualize what the demon looks like. And I'm with you, Katie. I'm so glad that we didn't see the demon at all. You know, these footprints were just so not human, like so not normal. And it was just an excellent detail.
The movies where you don't get to see what the scary thing looks like, but you get those small hints are always scarier because what you make in your head is going to be so much worse than whatever they could put in front of you anyway.
So much worse. Sorry, continuing night 17, they have the footprints, and then like the attic is open.
Oh, the attic.
And there's a picture from her childhood, so uncanny, burned around the edges. And Katie's like, yo, we gotta see the demonologist. Like, this is out of control. And then the demonologist is out of town. I personally think that the demon communicated with the demonologist, like, don't come or I will kill you. So then they decide to call, like, the psychic back again. So it's night 18. And I think this is so funny to me. There's footsteps. And then, like, the demon turns the lights on and off.
It was that weird time I was like, okay, I gotta do something scary, but I can't do something too bad because we're not at the climax of the movie yet. So, gonna climb some stairs and turn some lights on and off.
And then this is actually the scene when the door slams. The scene before, when I said the door slams, like, you just hear a door shutting. We don't see that. Then, like, the door is pounding. The demon's like, let me in. And Katie is, like, visibly distraught the next day. Like, I was really, like, feeling for her. But then they make it scary because in the middle of the day, the demon breaks the picture and the demon starts breathing behind her, and you can see her hair being affected by the demon's breathing. And it's so subtle. It's not like there's a fan behind her, but you can see her hair moving. Just so subtle, so perfect. It's the only daytime scene that something scary has happened. And it's like kind of contrasting with the daytime scene where we saw the spider. So they were trying to trick us again. Well played.
No, but I feel like it was good because, like, it's almost like as the viewer, you feel relief when it's the daytime because you know nothing's going to happen in the daytime. But then they, like, violate that trust by having that happen. So now it's like, oh, God, now it's like there's nowhere safe. We don't know when this thing could happen. And Mika even says it. He's even like, this shit doesn't happen during the daytime, right? And she's like, yeah, not before today.
Yeah, it sucks. So another scary scene I thought is when the psychic comes in and then he leaves immediately because he's like, I'm angering it. I've got to go. This is way too much. Like, how terrifying would that be? Like, a demon is in your house. A psychic comes, feels its negative energy and has to leave right away. That's terrifying. And I totally felt like Catie, like, crumbling. That's like awful. I would feel awful. It's night 19 and like the sheets start moving and then the lights go on and off. And then the daytime, she's like visibly very like distressed. And Mika does more online research of like how to do an exorcism. But then they decide not to do it because, like, Catie has a risk of dying if they try it. Then they get into a fight again. And Mika says the most annoying line ever. Go hang upstairs with your friend.
I hate him.
He's so egotistical. He's like, I can do it. I can take down the demon. Like, no, Mika, you can't. You're a day trader who's bad at the guitar, who has a nice house with 2 guest bedrooms for some reason. I don't know.
The way he says things with such conviction that, like, he has no control. Like, when she flips out on him about how he has no control in the situation, I'm like, finally, someone is saying this. Because, like, when she's like, nothing's working, you're just making it worse. He's like, well, I bought a camera and I'm catching evidence and I put baby powder down and that caught evidence. And she's like, it's not doing anything. You're just proving something's wrong. You're not stopping anything.
I don't know. Should Catie have told him on the first date she's been followed around for a demon for years?
I was thinking about that. So I've been reading this Reddit thread called Am I the Asshole? Where people basically submit situations and leave it up to the internet to decide whether or not they were an asshole. And if this wasn't a movie, I would want to like anonymously submit this and see what people would say. Because I feel like she's not an asshole for not telling him on the first date. Like, could you imagine how that conversation would go? You're on a first date with someone, she's like, oh, by the way, I have a demon that follows me around sometimes.
I don't know how that would go.
I feel like maybe she should have mentioned it before they moved in together, but also Mika as a person I feel like would have been like, that's hilarious, let's do it, get me a Ouija board, let's summon this.
But yeah, I was like, when would I tell my boyfriend that a demon was following me around? Like, that was an interesting tidbit. So then it is night 20, great escalation. She gets dragged out of bed by the demon, and we like, the best part about this scene is like Mika runs off after her and we just hear like screams and noises. But since like Mika cared more about Catie in that particular moment and didn't just go grab the camera, it made that scene a lot scarier.
I think those last couple of scenes definitely were a lot scarier because they didn't have that moment where Mika was like, all right, I can get the camera and then film this. Along with not seeing the monster at all, I like that we didn't see any of that action on screen. Like, we don't know what happened to Mika. In the next scene or so, she shows she's got a big bite mark on her back. I like the simplicity of this in that it relies a lot on the viewer's own imagination for the fear. It's interesting.
Agree. After she gets bitten, they're both like, okay, we're gonna go to a hotel and like get out of this house. And then there is a scene where they're about to go. Mika's like, Catie, the car's packed, and she's on the floor and like holding a cross so hard, like so tightly that she's bleeding. And then he
Yup.
burns the cross.
Part of me is like, maybe Mika's a demon. Maybe Mika's just there to be a demon.
I find this scene one of the most this next scene extremely scary. So it's in the middle of the day. Catie is in bed and she is saying like, I think it's better if we stay. And then Mika leaves and she's like, it's gonna be okay. She says, I think we'll be okay now, but she doesn't say that like to Mika. And yeah, there's a second voice, which is the demon's voice. And then she smiles. And I think that is so creepy.
I mean, she's fully possessed at that point, for sure.
And then night 21, the big finale. She wakes up, stares at Mika, but from the other side of the bed. I wonder why.
Yeah. And she pulls the sheets off him, too.
Yeah.
Or like
so,
the
I don't know.
does.
Stares at him for a couple of hours. Then she goes downstairs. And Mika is screaming, and then Catie is screaming. And did you hear the third voice screaming, Catie? Because that is a different male voice. If you really listen to it, you can hear Mika yelling, another guy, and Catie screaming. So then there's a lot of tension, like the camera is still, and Catie the demon throws Mika's dead body at the camera and starts to smell him. That was creepy.
Yep.
And then she goes, "Roar!" And then it's over. And like then there's like a PowerPoint. There's like "Roar" in green and pink letters. That's how it ends.
Yup.
Okay. I love this movie. It's so good. I could watch it. I always notice new things when I watch it. Like the demon voice when Catie's talking in the daytime. I didn't notice that until I watched it. And I've seen this movie like probably like 7 times. Yeah. So Paranormal Activity, so fun. Catie's visiting me this weekend, so we're gonna have a lot of new content coming up.
Bye.